A tiny repair to a tiny loom. Welcome back to the shop on the channel. I have to do a repair to a miniature model loom, 18th century British loom that we have in our small collection, and it had a broken part and I need to fix that broken part. So in this video I'm going to fix that broken part. This will be kind of a short one. That being said, I will have to tell you that I discovered in production that I was only getting sound out of one side of the audio. And I discovered that about halfway through the video and fixed it for the rest of the video. I tend to shoot a segment or two here, go into my office, edit it into the video, and come out and to keep working. I don't shoot it all at once and then go and try and edit it. So I discovered that was going on. I fixed the problem. So about halfway through the video, we go back to 2 ears instead of just 1 ear. So with that being said, let's get into this and fix this tiny loom. This is a model of an 18th century British loom. It's an overhead beater. This is the beater. You can go into more detail if you like, but there's the beater for it. But it's a model of one, nicely made. It has a broken part. Let me bring you close in and we'll show you the broken part and how I intend to fix it. These arms here are for those shuttles you see going up and down in a loom. And one of the posts that holds it in place has broken off and it's pinned with a little dowel. Now what I need to do is make a jig the width of this that clamps on this as well, so I can clamp it in place and drill a hole for a new dowel through both pieces at the same time. Let's take a look at how that's going to go. So this piece here is exactly 3/4 of an inch, and this piece here is exactly 1/2 inch. So it shouldn't be too terribly hard to make that jig. And so I can slide it down. I'll figure out how to do that. But let's get started by getting a piece of wood that fits exactly on the width of this, and then one that goes underneath that we can drill a hole through as the drilling jig. We're building a drilling jig basically for this. So I've got a piece of 3/4 inch poplar that fits right there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean off, there's a little bit of rise from the dowel that's in there, clean that off with a chisel. This is 3/16, the dowel. I have some 3/16 dowel stock, and what I'm going to do is go ahead and drill a 3/16 hole through here, and this is dead center on that, so I just got to clamp it in place over this dowel, get it correct, and then go ahead and drill a hole. That should be interesting. So let me go ahead and drill a hole in here, 3/16 of an inch. Here's my little drilling jig. I've marked the center here of the dowel and marked it up to here, and I got a center line on my little jig. Now I need to clamp this in place and drill the hole through, cleaning out that hole. Then we'll figure out exactly how I want to drill the hole, get this cleaned out so I can get the dowel into here as well. A bunch of glue on here. I'm going to clean that up, make it flat again. Everything is lined up pretty well. I've got it clamped in 2 dimensions, clamped tightly to this beam, and then clamped so it can't shift up and down by these welding clamps. So I'm going to take my drill bit and very carefully drill through that dowel. Looks pretty good. It's a little off, but no, it's not. It's fine. Now I have to clean up the other part and see how to drill that hole. Okay, now the fun part. If I screw this up, I can make another one of these, but I don't want to screw this up. So what I've done is, obviously, I've clamped it into a machinist vise and squared it up with the machinist vise, which is square to the table. This is square to the table. Clamped it in place so it can't move. And I'm going to gently start drilling through here. I'll probably go in about 1/2 inch. And hopefully that'll be enough. Let me get the camera in another position so my arms are not blocking the view. I turned off the little side light I have over here because it would wash out probably the image. I'm going to run this at very high speed. I've set the depth of the cut on the system itself. And let's go ahead and see if I can drill this without causing too much chip out damage or movement. Everything's bolted down really tight, so it should be fine. There it is. One more time to be sure. Okay, take that out, take this off, go back to the little loom and see if this is going to work out pretty well. So what I did in prep, I fixed the sound thing for this segment. So what I did in prep was I glued my dowel into the leg itself. So that just gives me a good start. And it's going to be, it's going to go through the hole here, of course, and glue it in place, and I'm going to clamp it all up. So let's go ahead and glue this thing up. Probably put a little glue on here. Spread it around a little bit. Put some on the base of the stanchion. What do you want to call it? And the hole. This little hole here has to line up with the little hole on this one for the shaft that those arms ride on. Let's get this in here, lined up correctly. And again, I have a little clamp to clamp it in place. So I got a good solid clamping here. Now, let that cure. I'll reassemble it and I'll show you where it lives. Now we can put it back together. So this is going to be interesting. These 4 pieces of wood with the little holes in them have to come across like this. Well, what I'm going to do, this is tight real here, but this is a very flexible piece of wire. So I'm going to stick it in there and go one at a time, like that. Oopsie. And then put it right through the little tiny hole in the shaft here. Now you'll note that, light's blinking. So I can't, it's supposed to be bent up here, so I can just take my pliers, stick them in here, just bend it up a little bit there, and that's it. That's ready to work. So now it's fixed, it's back together. Oh, I have one more thing to do, which I don't have to do on camera. I lost a pin. There's a little, I don't know if you can see it in here, there's a little wooden pin here that holds this shaft in place for this pawl that works with that gear. Well, there's another one that goes down here. So I have to make a little pin for that. So let me do that, then we'll put this back home where it belongs. And there it is, all complete and ready to go back to its home. This is that pawl I was telling you about down here that was missing a pin that held the axle in place. So I carved out, and it's hard to see, I carved out a new pin right there. Can you see it? Carved out a new pin to hold that axle in place. So now the only thing we haven't done in this as far as fun stuff is actually put the heddles in place. So let me take it back to its home and I'll show you where it lives. Here it is at home in the living room. Notice the little weaver guy? He's to scale. And back in the 18th century and prior, weavers were mostly men. So got a little guy. You can't see it in the camera. He's got a real scowl on his face. There's some mementos from my sailing days as well. But the interesting thing is what it's sitting on. That is an 18th century butler's desk that I inherited from my mom. And it needs a little bit of work to bring it up to absolute snuff. And I'm going to get to that eventually. It was refinished in the past, but it's not really, didn't detract too much from the value of it. So that's down the road. So there he is with his loom again, getting ready to weave some stuff. Well, there you go. A repair to a tiny loom for a tiny weaver to sit in a tiny little corner of the living room. Next project, I'm not sure what it's going to be. I got a couple of things lined up. We will see where I'm at. I got some time to pick which one I want to work on. So until next time, make great things out of wood.